Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing our work on Sublunaris. This camera is suboptimal. There we go. That's only a little bit better. Okay, so here's the deal. We now have VR. We have the Valve Index. We have that set up. So what we need to do now is figure out how we're going to handle player controls between keyboard, mouse, VR, and controller. Now, we got these controllers, and we also have, joystick controllers. So, right. With keyboard and mouse and joystick, it's kind of fairly straightforward. Hey, Zoltan, good day. Right. So we have keyboard and mouse, and we have these controls. That's already up and running. What we need to do now is figure out what we're going to do with VR. And I think what I should focus right now on is the player controller, player interaction. We need to give the player an inventory, and we need to figure out how we're going to be controlling the game from the inventory, from the keyboard and mouse mode, controller mode, and the, VR mode. So, that's what we have to figure out. Now, when we're playing with VR, Fell in bed, ruin your plans. There you go. That'll learn you. Right. So we have to think about something. We have multiple types of inputs. Now, we know that Godot can't switch to VR in live. Once the game is running, it's running. You have to close the game and then launch the game again with VR enabled. And that's the only way to really launch it. So you can't be playing the game and then in the middle of gameplay you just oh, you know what, I feel like playing with VR, and then you just put on the VR headset. It does not work like that. So we know that when the player launches the game, they have to choose either VR mode or standard mode, and this is something that is done through a launch command. There's a launch command in Godot that you mark, and then when you're setting up your Steam game, you give multiple launch options, and one of them has that launch command included, which tells Vulkan to launch with VR routines already enabled. So we can't enable those while the game is running. That's fine. What we need to do is base our procedure off of that. So if we're playing in VR, then we know that we have free camera rotation, which means that we can control our vessel either from joysticks or from I don't know, well, would you be using keyboard and mouse or the VR controllers, right? So that means I need to figure this out. Hold on a sec. Can we do just a simple text file? Hey, look at that text file. Perfect. Notes. Actually, no. No, we have the technology, which is called Trello. I gotta say, I'm getting closer and closer to just developing my own Trello using PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. And just be like, hey, it does the same thing, but it's free, and you can just host it on literally your grandma's vibrator. Okay, so general. So this is input or player controller input. So we know that we have VR. We know that we have desktop. These are the only two modes. Okay, when you're playing in VR, Node.js Express and Mongo for the win. Man, I'm trying to keep it simple. Oh, man. Okay, so when we're playing in VR, we can control using VR controllers, or we can control using joystick. Now, is there going to be a keyboard and mouse? WASD, QE to roll, and then mouse to spin the vessel. So, I mean, I guess keyboard and mouse. Okay, if we're playing in VR, then it's keyboard and mouse and joysticks, which is hotas. Technically, this would be hosas. Hands-on, stick and stick. Okay. I guess joystick is fine. You know what? Nah. Come back. Hotas. Which, by the way, hotas and hosas technically imply two different control schemes. Hosas is more like this, like chopper controls, and then hotas would be the throttle stick. So you don't have 6 axis of movement. You can only go like backwards and forwards, kind of like the Subnautica, the little vessel you get in. I forget what it's called. Right. So, desktop, keyboard and mouse, hotas, hosas, and I guess controller makes sense. So basically everything. It's we can play with everything. There's no limits to how we can play. Oh boy. Okay. Right. Right. Now, when we play with hotas, keyboard and mouse, or controller, we are gonna need we're gonna need what? We're gonna need hands and items, and like takeout animations, all that good jazz. If we play desktop, there's only hands, but in VR, we have VR controllers, which means that physical interaction with objects would be necessary. Okay. Interesting. Well now. If this is the case, I guess what should we start with? Well, first, since we got VR, we should probably start with VR controller inventory, right? We need to give the player an inventory. How are we going to handle the inventory between VR and desktop? Or, yeah. With VR, I'm imagining a series of hotbars, which would be rendered just beneath the just kind of like at your waist level, and then you grab something from the hotbar, pick it up, and then you're holding it in your hand. Right. If we're talking about joysticks, we could say that if you're playing in VR, then it's all physical interactions. But that means that if somebody just has the headset and no controllers, then they can't really like do this, right? So we technically don't have to go this deep into the, adhering or providing every possible combination of controllers under the sun. But at the same time, we're kind of already going down that rabbit hole, And my general opinion is that a lot of VR games aren't actually VR games. They're just FPS games with shitty VR controls slapped on top of them. And I don't know if I like that. Okay, why don't we do the basic stuff? Let's see if we can get some sort of a player inventory, and we're gonna do a VR inventory first, and then we'll figure out what to do with everything else. Hopefully, the system can be designed in such a way where the inventory could be pretty easy to work with. Like, for example, the hotbar, if you're in VR, it's just a series of boxes beneath you. In desktop mode, or controller or joystick mode, it would be like I suppose it would just be a piece of UI on top of your screen, like you usually do. But then the inventory is kind of like it's kind of like a 2D inventory that is rendered on a viewport and then placed on top of a screen, like a flat plane. So we can try to do that. Yeah, we can try to do that. And then if we're working with keyboard and mouse, it's the same exact inventory, but instead of being on a three-dimensional object for VR viewing, it would just be like on top of your screen and the viewport. Okay, so there is a way to do this. There's a way to do this. Now, what I want to do right now is figure out some sort of a tool for the player to grab things, like a resource fetching tool. Almost think of like a gravity gun from Half-Life. All right, so we go here. Okay, we're not really going. Ooh, just making a shotgun. Let's put together just some sort of a quick tool. I feel like very quickly I'm gonna need to find somebody who can also jump on this project as a modeler. I have tasted the benefit of what it feels like to work with other people, and I'm like, I want more. I want the progress. Okay. Gonna have to adjust that a little bit. I came across something peculiar recently. So there's this game that I really enjoyed playing when I was a kid. And this game is called Delaware St. John. It's it's basically like a paranormal, what is it, Nancy Drew something type of game. Um, but it deals a lot more with like paranormal stuff rather than just plain old murder. And I noticed I periodically checked up on the series. They have three or yeah, they have three games. And they were working on a fourth entry, but it just kind of dropped off, and that was unfortunate. And then periodically I'll like drop in onto the website just to check up if maybe anything has changed. And I noticed that the website went down. And I'm like, oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. That kind of sucks. Uh, but I was about to kind of like give up the search, and the email that like the developer's email wouldn't work. It would just always come back with inbox full. So kind of sad state of affairs. But then I came across a Patreon, and it's a Patreon for their well, the production, I guess, studio that worked on the project. And what is it called? It's called what's it called? Perpetual Games. Now, the first 3 games in the Delaware St. John series were point and click, three-dimensional world, rendered as like a point and click type deal, kind of like scratches and whatnot. So really, really interesting, nostalgia-filled gameplay mechanic. But they were working on the fourth entry, Asylum of the Damned, and it was going down the same route. It was like 3D rendered as point and click game. But when I looked at the um, Patreon, it seems like the production of the next rendition is well, it's degraded a little bit, in my opinion. And I think it has degraded simply because of like budgeting reasons, because I don't think they have the budget to be able to do another 3D game, or maybe there's no budget to it, so they're just trying to the developer, the writer of the story, is trying to like create the game themselves, and of course they're going with whatever their skill level is, and right now that is RPG Maker. So honestly, I understand the notion. You got to work within your limitations, but I am deeply disappointed that they're kind of going in a totally different route. And it's not really, in my humble opinion, looking like it's a creative decision. Right, so this some concept art they've posted. There we go. Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's a creative decision. It seems like it's a, budget decision. It is. I mean, this was never like a AAA experience to begin with. Every single game felt like it was, it's like a passion project, but they have 3 of them, right? They have 3 of them. So clearly there was definitely effort and vision to, make some sort of a, I suppose, like a franchise, right? Kind of like you have the Sherlock Holmes multiple novels, right? Same reoccurring characters. That's what they were trying to go for. So it's kind of unfortunate. So I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, hey, interesting stuff. Do you need some help? Do you need some help? It's it's your call how you want to handle your own game. But do you need some help? It seems like you need some help. And this is like the game that I really enjoyed as a kid, so I don't mind. To be honest, I mean, if anything, my personal idea or prediction for that game was that eventually they would leave the point and click, and they would go for maybe something like third person, right? But of course, a game has to improve or bring a lot of income for that to even be remotely possible. And it doesn't seem like it seems like the first games had the budget to hire the 3D modeler and animator to handle all that stuff, right? They probably had the budget. They had somebody who could do all that stuff. The programmer, the animator, modeler, they could splurge, get stuff done. This time around, however, it seems like yeah, if you want to make another game, you gotta gotta get learning, get cracking. What is happening here? Why is this so messed up? Okay. I was just kind of looking for an excuse to dip into more maybe like third person character, third person game development, because God knows I got projects. Will be a nice excuse to give that a try. Hmm. I do wonder if maybe the design of the tool should be made in such a way where you could disable like a handle and then it would just immediately make the design compatible with, say, the joysticks. Because I don't think. Huh. Okay. Is the joystick going to have a separate control scheme? Like, with desktop, you have hands. Okay, cool. With VR, you have definite, dedicated VR controls. You have your VR hands. Cool. With controllers, maybe with controllers, joysticks, keyboard and mouse, and controller, it would be FPS hands. And then VR is VR, and that's it. Seems like that's an approach that could work. Okay. Oh man, it's kind of unfortunate having the game start as point and click and then having to like devolve into RPG maker of all things. The plunger gun. There we go. That's what it is. Okay. Shall we do the creepy arms? Yeah, sure. Let's do the grippy arms. Does this really need this many? Maybe. I suppose we can animate it here? Nah. Let's animate it in Godot. That's fine. Is there any point to that? You can't see that shit anyways. Why am I doing this? Okay. Is there a way to align an object to match the angle between two selections? I'm pretty sure cursor... You can't rotate a cursor, although I've seen the cursor assume an angle of something in the past. Yeah, like right... Oh, yeah, right there. Look at that. See? It is rotated. When you create something, it is not rotated. Never mind. Okay. That's good. That's just fine. Let's get a cube. I'm gonna create it right here. Mm-hmm. Nice. And I suppose the better way would be to do this, and then place the cursor there, and then move the selection to cursor. There we go. All right, cool. So that gets joined into this. Not, however, before we duplicate it, position it, scale it down, rotate, join. Now we select, join. Beautiful. Okay, so this is going to be arm base, arm tip. And then we're going to take this, parent it. There we go. Nice. And then we don't have to rig nothing. And then we're going to take cursor, place it right there. And then we're going to make transforms around the cursor. And we'll do Shift D, R, what is it, Y, and then 360 divided by 3, which would be 120, right? So R, 120. And then duplicate R, 120. There we go. Cool. Mark sharp. Mark sharp. Okay, now what's happening here? Whoa. 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 What the heck? Oh, there's a lot of messed up stuff there. Okay, let's hide that. Let's see what the hell happened here. Oh, jeez. No wonder it looks like ass. Alt H. Yeah. Nice. Mm-hmm. Let's save this. Yes, let's do that. That's a smart idea. Models. Tools? I guess not. This is like items, right? Inventory items. Okay, so this is grabby gun. Cool. Let's say this is it. So we got arm base 2, arm base. That's fine. Let's say this is enough. All right. What should we do next? I don't know if this size is correct. So let's get this exported first. Let's do file, export. This is going to be SGLTF. We're not 3D printing it. Let's go engine, models. Engine models, what do we want? Engine models. I guess this would be also inventory items. And this is a grabby gun, GLTF. Okay, so we're gonna see how big this is, and if it looks okay, we're gonna see about making also a laser. Okay. Cool. So, I need to redo the homing on the VR controller because I actually hung both of the lighthouses. Okay. Oh god, I hope my controllers are charged. Let's see. Steam VR. LA Noir VR. No, that's not what I want. Steam. Hey. Nice. Oh, okay. No, I don't want this. Hardware Valve survey. No, that's fine. Okay. Right. I need to find a way to hang up the cable in a more comfortable way. And let's go ahead and recalibrate, recenter. No, room setup. Oh, okay, there we go. So we do standing only. Headset ready. Yep. Calibrate center. That's where I am. Next, calibrate floor. Enter 0, and there we go. Cool. Done. Beautiful. Alrighty. So, let me just double check how this looks. Now playing Sublunaris. We've actually spent... Oh boy. Oh boy. We've spent quite a lot of time in working on desktop. So I actually don't know how much of this is gonna work. What's with this giant turd? That is something. Okay. Now I don't have controls. Interesting. Let's stop this. Oh man, that was so nice. Just launch Steam VR and then you're good to go. Look at that. No extra software. The hell with you? Yes. Go away. Oh, look at that. They're trying to be cute with the version number being a heart. Fuck you. Eat shit. Go away. Vanquish yourself from my system, you vile, vile creature. Alright. While that is done, let's open up the player. And let's take a look at what's happening here with the VR controller. There is no VR controller. What? That does not... Oh, right. There is no VR controller because we didn't... We used to have the VR controller a part of the vessel, and then we didn't work on the VR part for a while, and we extracted the player to be separate from the vessel. Right. So we don't have a player controller here. Okay. XR origin. We're gonna have to do this. Let me double check. Vessel. There should be a vessel, like a base vessel. Base vessel, yes. We should remove anything VR related from here. It looks like that is indeed the case. Let's get out of here. Right. So, XR origin and then VR XR camera. Nice. That's good. So that's going to be following us here. How big is this? 1.75 meters. So we are working with real world coordinates. Now, I am in the sitting position, so I doubt this is going to be perfect. Cool. I think that's it. Let's give that a test. Yes. There we go. Now, the controllers don't seem to be doing anything. I think that's because they're turned off. Yes. Okay. Well, why did my monitor turn off now? Come on. Come on. What? Hello? Did I press something? I think I pressed something. Oh, yeah. Come on. Don't you do me. Okay, there we go. Ooh, boy. Okay. Alright. So, our controllers are slightly reversed. Also, that is a little disorienting, but that is the point. Okay, so let's try this. Which controller is this? That is look. So that has to be this one. And then the second is for motion. Well, at least everything is relative to this suit. I was thinking if I'm gonna have to remove this suit, remove the oh man. Yeah, I was thinking if I'm gonna have to remove these arms, but they actually provide a pretty reasonable frame of reference of where the heck we're located. Now, the forward and backward does not seem to be working. I'm not sure why. Okay. Is the... Oh. Right. Interesting. We don't have access to the pause menu? What? No way. User interface doesn't get rendered in VR mode? That does not make sense. There's no flipping way. We know we have a pause menu. It's in this separate scene. Nope. What? How are we supposed to set up like menus and pause and settings and all that stuff? Don't tell me we have to do all that stuff in VR. Come on, man. Hello. Irong, the bearer of bad news. Come on. There's no way. Apparently there is way, but God's sakes. Oh. Okay. Well. If it was the case, we'd be throwing up. Yeah, but why not though? Display the you know, your canvas layer stuff on top of the gameplay in the desktop view. Like in DCS World, if you want to change settings, take off the headset, look at the monitor, change the settings, put the headset back on. If you wanted to make an in-game menu, then cool. Have an in-game menu. Man, this sucks. This actually sucks. What if I do like layer 100? I know. Is there a way to enable the feature? By any chance? Like, I don't care if I don't see it in the VR space. Nope. Well now. Well now. Okay. What can we do? If you want to display in a 2D preview, there may be a way. That's hopefully there's a way. If there's a way, I don't know what way that is. Do you know the way? I know the way. It's this way. Okay. Dank memes aside. So I suppose my next step would be to have this pause menu, have it appear in VR space on the plane. Would have to traverse it. Well, you know what? we have to figure out how to get the mouse to be shown on a 2D rendered menu anyways. So we might as well do it there. This does mean that I'm gonna have to make this script be a part of... Ooh, pause menu. We're gonna have to make it be a part of here rather than the canvas layer. Canvas modulate. So let's go in. Show in file system. We're gonna apply this to here. We're gonna detach it from here, and then here, anytime we talk to the mapping menu, / or I guess $ mapping menu. Ah, man. So if we do $ mapping menu period, we no longer have to do that because it is the thing. So Control R, replace it with nothing. Next, if we do $ mapping menu / then that just has to be replaced with the $, because we don't need to talk to self. And I think that's it. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to save branch as scene, mapping menu, objects, UI, save it here. Now, we're going to go to the player, and let's see if there's at least like a temporary way we can get this displayed. Pause menu. Okay, so we can do this by doing a viewport, sub-viewport. In the sub-viewport, we can add pause menu, which for some reason... Ah, right. Mapping menu. Maybe that will be okay, and maybe we don't need to save this as a scene. Let's just see. I'll save it. And then this is sub-viewport. It displays the UI. We're going to take a mesh instance, give it a quad mesh. Okay. Place it like this. Probably going to be a stationary component and not VR pause menu. Yeah, station component, not a part of the camera. That might be a little too confusing. And then we are going to give this a material, standard material, and then albedo, give it a... Okay, well, that's not very useful. Viewport texture. Can't create viewport texture in the resource because it's not set as local. Well, eat my ass. Local. Eat my local ass. There we go. And then sub viewport. And there we go. Okay. Now, load action map is executed. Then build input map grid is performed. And that's down on the ready. Okay, so I think we do this in the player, right? Pause menu, open. Really? Uh-huh. So I suppose we handle it from here. Okay, let me just see what that looks like right now. As frustrating as this is, I still have to figure this out because I'm planning on making Automicon be VR merged. So you can play desktop mode or VR mode. So figuring this out now with this project, I think, is a good idea. Oh, well, we got a crash. Okay, so script inherits from type. All right. We know what's up. Just extend from control. That's fine. Okay. So that's that. It doesn't show anything. Invalidate index pause menu open with base canvas layer. Right. So maybe we don't talk to the pause menu. Let's make the master node store whether or not the pause menu is open. Let's go over here. Find, replace in the file. So pause menu. Master node. Replace. There's only one place. So we're just going to do this. And then we'll make a variable here. Pause menu open, false. Now in the pause menu, there is no variable. False. Well, there shouldn't be. And then the only other place where we do this is, this is where we process the button. So master node dot pause menu open. UI cancel. Okay. We've got quite a challenge ahead of us. Quite a challenge indeed. Okay. Yeah, come on. Oh, my left and right controllers swapped again. There we go. That's much more like it. Okay. So, if we press escape, we see nothing. We see diddly squat. Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. Make a sub viewport with XR enabled. I think, yeah, I haven't explored all the settings that I need to set to make this work, so that sounds like what I need. Okay. Put that away. Cool. Okay, let's take a look. We got player, sub viewport, use XR. Yes, I can do. I guess I can. Nah, let's keep it non-transparent for the time being. Scaling. Canvas item. Having the menu visible in VR isn't too hard. Well, yeah. Viewport, slap it on the plane, done. Well, having the mouse vents forwarded to it might be a little more tricky. Snap controls the pixels, embed sub windows. Okay. Let's just take a look at this. I don't think I need a camera in the sub viewport. I don't remember having... Oh, okay. Let's start by doing this. Pause menu. Maybe the sub viewport is throwing it off. Let's double check that. Pause menu or menu mapping menu. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't remember having to do that for the terminals in Dreadtail. Okay. Okay, so it's not displaying anything. Which tells me, let's do a panel. Big panel. Can't see it because why would they? We'll need like a sub viewport container to be able to see it. Okay. This has UVs, right? Quad mesh. It should have UVs. Just gonna do something real quick. Just out of curiosity. Whoops, okay. Engine models. God, mother. Standard shortcuts, come on. Utility. Selected only. Yes. Okay. So, quick load. Plane. Okay. Surface material override. Standard material. Okay, make it local. Libido. Viewport texture. This is the viewport. Aha! Aha! What the heck is... what? We got Godot engine and Sublinaris. Perfect. The viewport path was at least set correctly. Can you imagine? You just like open a terminal in Sublinaris and just Godot engine. It's like, hey, make your own game. Go for it. Something tells me that would be possible. That would be funny. Okay, so that's... yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so... well... interesting. I don't think it's transparent. Oh, it's sideways. Would be helpful if it wasn't. Also would be helpful if it was centered. Why? Oh, why? Disable XR. Okay, plain OBJ. We're gonna lose the material. Yep. See, I don't understand. Why do we have to lose the material? Still, 4.2.1. We lose the material of an OBJ. It's an override material. Why? Why do we lose it? Why is it so difficult for them to just say, hey, you got override materials? We're gonna keep that safe for you. Am I missing something? Or is whoever responsible for the OBJ support just kind of checked out? UI is only 2D. Yeah, that makes sense. No need for 3D. Okay. So, use XR is not needed. Okay. Disable 3D. I don't think we need own world. Alright, let's see this. Okay, and then we... Well, I mean... Technically, we should be seeing something. I should probably populate the viewport texture into the emissive map as well. So you can see it in the dark. Or we can make it unshaded. I'll do this for the time being. Okay, so... Oh, that, you know what? I know what's up. The viewport has a size of 2 pixels. Okay, so let's do 800 by 800. Well, there we go. I'm sure this would have worked with the quad mesh as well. Okay. Okay, so... And we'll press escape. And there we go. There's our menu. Now, how can... These are all buttons. How can we forward our mouse into it? Because I think we should probably do that. That would be the easiest or the simplest thing to do. Let's do this. 128 by 128. Put together a quick little cursor. Well, that's not fun. Okay. I am severely underestimating how this is going to work. Okay, just give me something. This is not needed. Alright. Let's keep it simple. Stupid. Okay. Cursor. This be going to Sublunaris. Sprites UI. Okay. Now, I have no idea if this is going to work. But if I were to go here, mapping menu, and then give it a texture rect, call it cursor, and then let's say if we have an input event, which I think we're not going to have input events, but let's just see. Cursor position equals get viewport get mouse position. Okay, this is a shot in the dark. I'm just going to see what this does, if it does anything. It does nothing. It does nothing. It would help if I actually assign the texture to the cursor. Okay, and it's useful if it was also PNG. What the shit? Why? It's... Yes. It is transparent. Why is it so big? Wait a minute. It's 128 by 128. Also, why can't I see your resize gizmos? It is a panel container, that's why. So, change type to panel. Hope I'm not going to regret this. There we go. And then we're going to do keep size. There we go. I still don't expect it to actually move. Pretty sure that the mouse movement is locked away. Yep. Yeah, okay. That's probably because inputs are not handled by that viewport. So let's try handle inputs locally, which is enabled. Interesting. It's true, the viewport will mark incoming input events as handled by itself. If false, this is instead done by the first parent viewport is set to handle input locally. Set viewport container will automatically set the property false. Viewport container side of it. Maybe disable? Maybe. Let's see. Nope. Let's take a look if we even receive any inputs in the first place. So print sub viewport input and then event. Oh, that's a big fat nada. Not even controllers. Okay, so let's bring this back. I think I remember seeing something that the sub viewport just wouldn't handle any sort of inputs, and I had to forward the inputs from the player, which does have access to the input event, to the sub viewport to this mapping menu. Okay, so let's try this. So we literally just run input and send event into it. Usually have to forward them. Seems a little weird, to be honest. Forwarding. Like, well, even then. Okay. There's a function for that. Let's see. Forward. Set drag, editor plugin. Input. Parse input event. Parse input event. It's not even here. What the? Oh. Finds the input event in the game. Can be used to artificially trigger input events from code. Right. Set process input. Enable, disable input processing. This is required for GUI controls. Enabled automatically if input is overwritten. Any calls to this before ready will be ignored. Let's see if we have to set this maybe. Who knows? Maybe sub viewports have this be disabled. Now, where do we see this? Set process input. This is in node. So we just node. Just like this. Let's see. It's called push events or push input. Viewport push input. Triggers a given event in this viewport. Okay. Good to know. Let's double check that. So let's go player. And then, so we go to viewport, sub viewport. Tell it to push the event. This is the event to push. And then in local coordinates, I don't know what that is. Let's see. Viewport. Push, push, push. Push unhandled input. No, I just want push input. Okay, in local coordinates is false. In events position is the embedded coordinates and will be converted to the viewport's coordinates. If in local coordinates true, events position is in the viewport coordinates. Interesting. Okay, parse input event. While this method serves similar purpose as input.parse input event, it does not remap the specific event based on the project settings. Cool. All right, let's just see this. Up. Oh. And it sees the mouse too. Holy cow. Man. This is awesome. The UI is a little off. I think by about 128 pixels by the looks of it. Ah, man, this is cool. That is just beautiful. And it's kind of like hovering in the top left by the looks of it. Yeah. You know what? I can work with this. I can freaking work with this. I don't want to have the mouse, however, hover over the screen. So I suppose when we open the pause menu, we need to not unblock the mouse if we are in VR mode. Okay, so I'm going to go to the player. We are in the player. So it's not in the player that we do this. It's in the pause menu. Okay. So, input mouse mode. Right, so we need to know if we're in VR mode. How do we know if we're in VR mode? think the master node has something that we set. Master node. Yes. Index server, find interface, open XR, VR in VR initialize, get viewport use XR true. I guess we can check if the use XR is enabled. Display server vsync disabled. Cool. Why do we disable HDR on VR headsets? That's a curious choice. Let me double check if there's also something else that we can check for. Godot, check if in VR. Can you detect VR environment from GD script? Find interface error. Find interface. If interface, get tree change scene. Find interface. Okay, so I guess we can just do this. Bar. VR mode. False. Okay. You know, the funny thing is that Godot requiring a restart to enable VR makes things easier for us, because we can just do this and then have the player generate all the VR objects and interactables once that way. And then, you know, if you take off the headset, then, well, you take off the headset. It doesn't change that it's still not running in VR. So we have this in the master node. We go to pause menu, and then if not master node in VR mode. Come on. Oh. Then we allow the mouse to be blocked and unblocked. All right. But if we block the mouse, then this happens. So maybe if it's in VR, it has to be captured. No, captured is exactly what makes it not work. Confined? I suppose, yeah, that could work. So we do else. Mouse mode confined, but hidden. If visible, otherwise captured. That could work. Okay, so here we go. It's interesting that it's limited to that top left corner. Huh. Although, actually, as you can see, there's a bit of an offset. And I believe it's actually an offset exactly by, what, 32 pixels? Let's see here. Input minus vector 3, 32 by 32. Vector 2, excuse me. Setting to disable. A warning pop-up if VR if not detected. It's a warning, but doesn't it still attempt to display? Nice. Doesn't it still attempt to display the whatchamacallit? Oh. Hold up. Ooh. Uh-oh. Damn it. Right. Doesn't it still attempt to like launch the VR subroutine in Vulkan? I need to make that cursor texture not block mouse events. Okay. Come on now. At least it gives me something to work with. I am happy about that. Mouse. Oh, come on. Ignore. Yes, we can disable the pop-up. So, technically the pop-up would not appear. The pop-up that says VR was not detected, right? That's the pop-up you're talking about? That does not look right. What if we don't do this? Yeah. So, technically, the way I'm going to be handling this is I'm going to be defining two launch options. And when you're in Steam, it is going to present you with how do you want to play the game? Do you want to play regular mode or VR mode? That's how we're going to handle it. Okay, that looks like maybe 16 by 16 pixels. I'm not sure why it's off. Oh, you know what? It's because this panel is offset from the top left corner. Got it. Let's keep that in there. And let's give it 640 by 640. I don't know why that. You could make two versions too, would be better. Well, not two versions, but two launch options. And then this is what Bastian Ollie had mentioned, because he's the lead VR guru, and he says that using the launch option is probably the most optimal way because it doesn't even bother to launch VR subroutines in Vulkan when you do it that way. Okay, this has to be 800 by 800 actually, and this has to be smaller. So let's shrink this down. For now, we're just gonna work with this. I think I wouldn't want to do two versions either because I don't want to deal with like two exports. So having one version that just switches between VR and non-VR modes would be better, in my opinion. Okay, now I don't want this thing always in front of us. Okay. We're gonna do print, not print. We're gonna talk to this node, VR pause menu. Make it invisible. I guess we could just run the hide command. Nice. So we're on the hide command. That's perfect. Okay, so when we are in VR mode, not only do we need to show the panel, as a matter of fact, when we're in VR mode, we're not supposed to be even hiding or showing the panel. We have the visible property. So if not master node, VR mode. Then we do not hide this panel. And if we are not in VR mode, then we allow the toggling, which means that I got it wrong up here as well. So if we are not in VR, yeah, okay, I got it right. If we're not in VR mode, hide the panel because it's just displayed as user interface on top. With, yep, custom launch arguments. That's how we enable VR. Okay. Now this might be a problem. If it's based on visible or not visible. Then that might be a problem. We should be basing it on this. If the pause menu is open or not. As a matter of fact, you know what? When we press the button, the pause menu will be equals to not what the pause menu is right now. So it's going to flip-flop the variable. And then here, the visibility, if we're not running in VR mode, the visibility is going to be based on pause menu open. This is going to be based on pause menu open instead of visibility. And I think that is basically all that we need. So now we go to the player code. Okay, and then we have our interface process. Interface process, that's right. And then here, VR pause menu, visible, is going to be equals to whether or not the master node variable is visible, and then only if master node.vr mode is true is this going to be allowed to run. Whew. All right. Okay, so here we go, and then boop, oh, boop, oh, okay. Interesting. I think we have a piece of code that immediately disconnects it. Just pressed. Let me double check this. Print pause menu. Just pressed. Let's see if this gets executed multiple times. Okay. Oh, you know what? It would be helpful if I enabled the visibility for the outputs. Pause menu just pressed. This gets to run twice. Autocomplete be broken for node paths with $. Yeah, that's kind of an annoying thing. Okay, interesting. So we're receiving 2 events now. Now, why are we receiving 2 events? Is it because we don't actually need to forward the push event? As a matter of fact, that could have been why we didn't see the input events in there in the first place. Because we just didn't show the print results. Yeah, look at that. Look at this shit. Okay, so I think the player does something. Okay, and then this is where it just returns. That is weird. So I've disabled the line of code that pushes the input. So it is accepting the inputs. What do we have here? Input is action just pressed. UI, cancel. So we press the escape. Pause menu, open. Let me just look this up. Okay. So open becomes not open. Visible is set to the same as open. And then here, the physical 3D node visible becomes... That is weird. Oh, you know what? It's because we have two... Damn it. We have two menus. One in the singleton and one in here. And they're both running the code. Oh, boy. Okay. Okay, so what can we do? I want to minimize the amount of movement I do with nodes. I don't want to have like two versions of the same node and I delete one and then keep the other. What if we do this? What if we say we have the viewport. Yes. We have the viewport. What if we get rid of the viewport here? Okay. And then we go to our... I could disable the other in VR, but that means I have two and I need to get rid of one. Here's what I'm thinking though. We have pause menu, which might grow into something a bit more ubiquitous. So what if we do this? What if we take here, we're going to give it a viewport container and a viewport, sub viewport. We're going to place the mapping thing in here, and this 512, I guess it's because this thing is 512. We're going to set the dimensions, sub viewport. Let's do 800 by 800, which, because it's on a separate viewport or view layer, canvas layer, this should just display on top of it in the regular game like it was before. So that's fine. But now, because it's still technically a sub viewport, we can program, let's see, we can program the player to talk to that viewport and then populate the viewport texture paths here. Okay, so I think that's gonna work. Right now, it is gonna be broken, but that is okay. I just want to see this. Okay, beautiful. Purple. So now, close this. We're gonna go into the ready, and in the ready function, if master node VR mode is on, then how do we talk to the singleton? Pause menu. Pause menu. Yes. So pause menu, and then within the pause menu, let me just open that. We have sub viewport container, and then we have a viewport in here. So we're going to copy path. Come on now, copy path. Get node. We're getting the node this way. It's got to be a string. So that hypothetically gave us a sub viewport. So now, in Godot 3, there was a separate function for the sub viewport to get a viewport texture, which we then applied onto the material. I made a mistake before by creating a new viewport texture and then attempting to connect it to the viewport, but that did not work. In reality, in Godot 3, you had to talk to the viewport in question, and then it had a function that returned a viewport texture. So I think it's in here, it's in the viewport. And then you just apply that viewport texture onto the shader instead of trying to make a new one. So there we go, get texture. So if we go to here, get texture, and then this is var viewport texture. Pause menu VP texture. Okay, so now we go here. We get okay, how do we talk to the override material? Come on. Simple stuff. Surface material override. Okay, I can see what you're saying about the frickin' linting being broken on the node. Okay. Instance mesh instance 2D, which is mesh instance 2D. I need mesh instance 3D. Why not using viewport texture resource like before? Well, if I do that and I select, what are we there's nothing here. It only shows me the nodes of the player. I cannot go up into the singletons by the looks of it. Allowed viewport, yeah. So I have to do this via code. It would be nice if I could just select a singleton viewport, but, you know, alas, not such luck. Okay, so we do... What the hell was I looking for? Mesh instance. And then we get surface override material. And there's only one material, so get surface override material 0. And then we need to set, maybe with an absolute path. Yep. Which is what I'm, well, it's not quite what I'm doing right now. Texture, so this is, clear this, clear that. And then we set albedo texture. And we set it with pause menu VP texture. Alright. Hey, look at that. It works. Cool. That's perfect. Just gotta get it to also apply it to the emission texture. Cool. We'll figure out the dimensions after this. But hey, look at that. It works. Nice. Cool. Okay, so that is gonna be super, super handy. Something that just came to mind. How would you work with keyboard and mouse and VR? That doesn't make sense. If you're playing with keyboard and mouse, you expect to see a radical in the middle of the screen with which you aim. Right? So if you're playing in VR, we could say that there's no keyboard and mouse. It's VR controllers or joysticks. Right? I think that might simplify a few things. Let me see. Let's go here. So if we're playing in VR, there's no keyboard and mouse. There's just HOTAS. There isn't really even a VR controller. regular controller. Because again, how would you do that? I'm sure we can come up with a system, but it seems like it might be an overkill. Like if you're playing with the VR headset, you're kind of expected to have VR controllers. So if you're outside the ship, use your VR controllers. If you're inside the ship, use the joysticks. Right? Makes sense? Because again, if you're playing... Like, you take that gun, right? The gravity gun, to collect resources. Or the laser miner, right? If you're playing with a keyboard and mouse, but you're looking with a controller, how would that even work? Without maybe like a laser sight or something. Well, maybe I just answered my question. There's still a question of whether I need to really go that far. Okay. Maybe a bit annoying to switch between joystick and controllers. Yes, I do want to make it so that the player has the ability to control the ship from the controllers. But for now, let's see. I do like the idea, though. Okay, so what do we got here? This sub viewport container doesn't have stretch. Do we want stretch? I don't think we need stretch. How big is it? 800 by 800. What about the viewport? 800 by 800. Size 2D override stretch. 2D size override effect stretch as well. Huh. Is something wrong with the UVs of this cube? Nope. Perfect UVs. Is something wrong with the UVs of the material? Nope. Perfect UVs. So... Okay, so let's bring this up. Hey! Alright, this works. Perfect. I think I might want to bring this down a bit. Let's go to the player. Okay. Okay, my input stopped working. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay, and this is how low we can go. Because that's, I assume that's because it's hitting the bottom of the game viewport. Okay. That's fine. I think that's okay. Now. It seems like the backwards and forward is a little nerfed. Although maybe we're just supposed to be slow. Oh boy. Oh boy. That is a big ship. Okay. I kind of want to make these controller joysticks you know, twist and turn as we're turning them in real life. Think that might be nice. Also, they're a little bit big. Like, oh boy, are they big. What? The Oculus is still uninstall complete. Nice. Okay, let's go here. So we have joystick right. I need to modify this because I can't move it left and right and forward and backward at the same time. Open this up. Assets, models, player, thruster suit. Okay. So I can fix this by placing an empty. Okay, so joystick right axis. Object. Keep transform. And then joystick left. Okay. Joystick left axis. So this gets parented to this, and this gets parented to that. There we go. That should do it. Engine model. Player. Thruster suit. Nice. Now in VR, I have a choice of either just using the joysticks, or the player could actually grab the handle and physically like twist it down and up. Because, you know, if it's in VR, I don't want it to be any less immersive, just because there's other input methods. I can make it so that the player grabs the handle, but they don't have to keep their hand extended. They just rest it, and it just reads the angle of the controller, and then makes the joystick twist that way. All right. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we know that we have joystick right axis. That seems to be incorrect. Joystick left axis. What? Am I stupid? Did I? Left. Right. That's Y forward. Which here is Z negative. Left. Yes. Left, left, left. That is correct. Right, 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 right. Okay. Did I actually just forget where's left, where's right? What the hell? What's wrong with me? This is your brain on VR. Left, right. Yes. Okay. God damn, dude. I'm 30 years old, for Pete's sake. Okay. That's good. Maybe it's because my brain is like, this panel is on the left side, so anything in here is left. Okay, that's fine. Let's go in here. We know that we have these parameters. Roll, pitch, yaw. So roll is left. Roll left, roll right. Okay. So we can do roll. So this is all camera movement. Okay. So we do this. Rotation degrees dot which axis? Okay, so roll is z-axis. And this is supposed to be on the right, by the way. Okay, nice. And then we go into the inspector. And then let's say negative 30 to positive 30, which looks like it's the opposite. Okay. Now we know that the roll value is already multiplied by 15. So why don't we do this? Well, let's multiply this after the fact. It's kind of funny that we multiplied by 15 and then 0.05. But yeah, I'll keep those values separate. That's fine. So roll value times 30. And let's just see what that looks like. Cool. Alright, so it's just inverted, but it works. Oh, that looks cool. Nice. Okay. So we just do this. Negative 30. Now, pitch. Pitch up, down. So this would be the joystick itself. Oh, come on, really? I just want to copy the name. So I think this would be on the x-axis. And I don't think this is reversed. Man, it's so fast. Okay. Oh. Oh. I'm using the wrong value. It's not roll, it's pitch. Oh, yes. And, not multiplying it here anymore. There we go. Okay, yeah, so it's just gotta be reversed as well. Not bad. Not bad at all. I just hope there are no controllers that have the axis reversed. That would just suck. Okay, once we have more high quality controllers, models for these joysticks, we can swap them out for something else. Okay. Not bad. Okay, let's get the left joystick in place. So, we'll worry about the yaw once we have a better model, because right now it's just a cylinder. You can't really tell where everything's at. Angular velocity. That is for mouse movement. Linear velocity. Here we go. Okay, so we have thrust up, thrust down. That's button presses. Suit thrust left, suit thrust right. So here we were just building up the vector, which means this should also already be normalized, so we could just use it right away. Nice. And this one we work in radians. No. It's just a value between -1 and +1. Which technically is radians, but it's not really radians. I think it's just the value. Okay. So let's talk to joystick axis. Rotation degrees dot z. And that's going to be set to the x-axis times 30, or times -30, I suppose. And then times z, times I believe this is z, and this is x. Oops. This is x, and this is x and y, because that's a vector 2 value. And this is z and x. Alright. Let's see. Left, right, forward. Okay. For once, we don't have to flip it. So this is here. Nice. Mm-hmm. Cool. Alright. So, definitely not for the faint of heart, or for the queasy folk. This is not... Oh, I love it. But I don't think everybody's going to be able to play it just like this. I'm perfectly fine though. Okay, let's try entering the ship. Can we do that? Is that still gonna work? Yes. Okay. So we have this stuff. Okay. Wow, that is pixelated as heck. I am in a sitting position, so this is... Oh boy. Okay. Alright. Wow. That's a mighty pixelated texture. Okay, now we've technically seen this before, because the whole project started with this. Now, some of the controls don't seem to respond. I don't know why. Hmm. Yeah, like right there. Left works. Right? Not so much. Is it maybe because the shit... Wait. Is the controller connected? No? No. It is not connected. Hmm. That is weird. Okay, let's double check this then. So look up suit. Okay, so there's a suit. Roll. There we go. Roll left, so roll right is missing. There we go. Cool. Now, it would be nice if it combined all the devices here and all the keys on the right side, or maybe organized it in some sort of a grid system. But for now, that is perfectly fine. And then we technically still have the ability to control this using the mouse and keyboard. So, you know, if need be, here you go. Oh, man. This is awesome. Sometimes I am so glad I got into Gamedev. Because, yeah, look at that. Make my own entertainment. What's that, Mr. Developer? You don't want to accept... Whoop. You don't want to accept my suggestion? Well, good riddance to you. I'll make my own game. Now put whatever the hell I want into it. Okay, let's go try the other vessel. Woo! Man. Oh, boy. Okay. Is thrust left also messed up? Let's see. Also, the lighting is a little fidgety. I think so. Let's see. Strafe left. Strafe right. Yes. There we go. Interesting. How did that get knocked off? Well, at least we have a system to fix it. Oh, you know what? I think I might know why. I think that while the panel is disabled, it is still processing inputs, and I might be pressing stuff while the menu is off. It's cool to be able to build the worlds and experience them in VR. Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Okay, now. Whew. What do we need? We need to disable inputs in this viewport if it is not visible. I think that's what we need to do. Hmm. Seems to me that's what's happening here. Yeah, so you can see right there, we're receiving sub viewport input events. So before we had a problem that the sub viewport wasn't receiving events. Now we have a problem that it's receiving too many events. We need to lay off of some stuff. Okay. Could disable the process function if it's not visible. A lot of the stuff isn't handled in the process function. Like the mouse moves, and if it hovers over the menu and I left click or, confirm button on the controller, it will end up clearing that event. That's how I lost some of those inputs, I believe. So, delete action mapping. So I need to return out of all these functions. If, what? If master node, pause menu open, not return. So I'm going to have to go through all of these signals. Mapping timer timeout. List all events. I think that's fine. Delete action mapping, especially this one. Go to hell. Oh, well, we already got one. Never mind. Save action mapping. As long as it's not open, don't save anything. Input. And go to hell. Action menu button press. Not on my watch. Load action map. When does this run? It runs in the ready. I suppose, yeah, and that's it. Cool. Set process input. Oh! I think this is it, isn't it? Let me try this. Okay. And then when I bring this back... I think I'm just... Yeah, okay. Let me just try this. Okay, so I'm looking at the output for input events. Like that. Now, if I go up here, and then disable set process input, no, it still runs it. So I don't think set process input does anything in this case. Cool. All right, that's fine. Bring this back. Okay. Round place. I have no idea what that is for. Round num power round place. Number places. It's probably true by default. Uh-huh. Enable bool. It doesn't have a value. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it's outlined. We're gonna get to the new high score. No, it's just not gonna open at all. Set process input. Enables, disables input processing. This is not required for GUI controls. Okay. I'm just gonna bring this back. Ah, okay, maybe you're right. So if we set this to true... Oh, hold on. Let me keep it at false and see if the mouse is not going to move anymore. Yep, okay, the mouse is not moving. And then let's bring that back. True. So I suppose that's what we can use. Nice. Okay. Okay. So you know what? I'm going to set this to false. I'm going to keep the returns just for good measure. And we're going to go to the player. And we're going to handle the interface toggling from the player. Which means we have to go to interact the pause menu, input. Or other place where we open the inventory. There we go. I guess maybe instead of doing this, we can just run a function. Toggle pause interface. So it doesn't run all the time. We are going to take this out, and then toggle underscore pause underscore interface. So go here. If we press the UI, cancel, we will talk to copy path. We will talk to pause menu, and then get node. Get this node, and then run the function called toggle pause interface. We don't need delta here. So go here, toggle pause interface. Cool. And the toggle pause interface is going to in turn set whether or not it's going to be doing input processing. It seems like a bit of an overkill, but let's see. Okay, so bring this up. Menu is working. So I'm going to leave the mouse here. Close. Bring it up. Okay, so it's over there now, but I didn't move the mouse. I think it's because it's just being centered within the screen. You know what? We have a bit of confinement thing that we're going to have to worry about. And it's the fact that the mouse coordinates are actually based on the real coordinates of the mouse in the game window. So that means I can put the mouse like further out here, right? Or it doesn't go further down below here, because in reality, that's where the physical mouse is touching the edge of the screen. Which means the larger the resolution of the game, the larger this mouse region, movable mouse region is going to be. Oops, don't want that. Well, good thing that works. Okay, now, did we do transparent background? Pretty sure we did transparent background. We did. It's just not transparent. That's because there's no transparency enabled on this guy. Whether or not that will look good, we'll see in a moment. Alpha transparency. That looks like nothing. But it also might require me to rerun the game so that it can recompile. Okay. Hey, nice. Transparent menu. That is perfect. So this right here is pretty much how we're going to handle all of the menus and whatnot in VR. Oop, out my head. There we go. Come on. Alright. Let's see about accessing this. Also, I'm currently, again, in the sitting position. And this is just absolutely giant. Let's go into the VR world. There we go. That's much more like it. Nice. Oh, it's a big vessel. It's a tiny vessel. Okay. So that should be good. I mean, realistically, this game should be played from a sitting position. Because you're kind of hovering around the space. Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, this is looking pretty good, to be honest. Okay, I'd like to get out now. Oh, damn, that thing looks massive. It looks beastly in VR. That is awesome. What does this look like? I should probably make this thing turn on only when it's out, when it's done playing the animation. Yeah. I can't wait to get the sounds in here. Okay, and then that's the laser. Nice. And then with the laser in place, we can do mining. Now, is it secondary? It's secondary, isn't it? No, that's actually secondary, but that's on the left side. That's a little weird. We need to have some sort of a progression texture. Okay, and then we're supposed to use that. Right? Or which one is it? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Nice. I think maybe our primary and secondary items assignments are a little off. So this is attachment 1. Yes. Attachment 1. Which means... Oh. The menu is not appearing. I cannot access the menu, the pause menu, from within the vessel, apparently. Oh, now I can. Now I can. That's a little low. Might have to level it with the camera. So what do we get here? We get... Attachment 1 button. Attachment 2 button. Okay, so let's do this. Attachment 1 is primary trigger. Attachment 2. Attachment 3 is primary trigger. Attachment 4 is the side button. There we go. So now we do... There we go. There we go. That's much more like it. Oh yeah, that's an auto grabber. That's why I can't interact with it. There's a regular grabber, which we can attach to 1. And this one will only work if we manually work with it. Oh, come on. Nice. And then... Oh. It's probably a good idea to make it spin. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I made it not spin specifically because the spinning part is an indication that it's an automatic tool. Oh boy, come on. Yeah, some sort of an indication might definitely be nice. Also, there we go. We can also make a texture of cracks on the minerals appear as we're mining it, just like in Minecraft. Okay, now, can we do something about that box? Alright, smack in the middle of my screen. What is that? What is that box? It's not part of the player. Okay, so this would be base vessel. I think it's like a placeholder to visualize the location of something. What is this? Oh, that's it. That's right there. GPU particles, and then it's got a CSG box to show me where the GPU particles were located. Okay, you know what? It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I want to work more on this today, but I gotta take a break. So, we'll stop the video here, 20-ish minutes, maybe 25, maybe half an hour, and then we'll be back, and then I'll see about doing VR player tool interactions. Get that up and running. I want to get that at least done today, so we have a fundamental, so we have a foundation for inventory and VR inventory interaction. Cool. Okay, so bye back. Thanks everybody for watching, and hope you learned something. Going to sleep. Sounds good, man. Bye bye.